This is Louis Beitzel. He came to America in 1858. He lived in Bittinger. He married Liz Orndorff. She lived to 105 years old. Oops. This was the home of Wilhelm Bender. He came in 1829 according to his obituary. He lived on what is currently Ash Road in Springs, Pennsylvania. This was the home of Joseph and Magdalena Schwarzentrubler Bender. Magdalena was the sister of Bishop Jacob Schwarzentrubler of Iowa. They lived on Shade Hollow Road in Nether Springs, PA, the present home of Noah B. Yoder. The tombstone on the left is that of Elizabeth Bender. Her maiden name was Baumann. She was married to Daniel Bender in Germany. She immigrated with some of her children in 1842. She was an aunt to Magdalena and Christina Baumann, who lived near Lichtenberg, PA. This is John Bender, son of Daniel and Catherine Defenbow Bender. They immigrated in 1821. John is buried at the cemetery at Maple Glen. His son Fred owned Spring Store. Son Charles owned the National Hotel in Grantsville, and across the road was his son Jake Bender's general store. Daniel was a bishop and president of Heston College. John was a teacher. Edward was superintendent of schools in Ohio. His son George was a minister and instrumental in the beginning of the Mennonite Board of Missions and Charities. He was the father of Harold S. Bender. Okay, this was the farm where Daniel Brennemans came to probably in 1828. To the right is Daniel Stone, and Daniel was buried on this hillside, and his wife Maria is buried about 10 miles south at a farm where her son Jacob Brenneman bought in 1856 from his sister Barbara, who was married to Joseph Hickory Joe Schwarzentrubler. This is a photo of Daniel Brenneman. He came to America with his parents in 1826. He lived on Foxtown Road on the present Jerry Opal Farm. This is a picture of Barbara Gingrich. She came to America in 1834. She married Jacob Falk, and they lived on the Floyd Semi Farm near St. Paul, PA. This is a picture of her brother, Christian Gingrich. He came to America in 1854, and he is the ancestor of Caroline, who married Val Bender, and a number of their descendants are in Delaware. And Christian Gingrich and his wife are buried at Maple Glen. This is a photo of a house Jacob Kinsinger built. Jacob came to America in 1833, and he was a brother to Peter Kinsinger and also Anna. This is a picture of a farm that his brother Peter Kinsinger owned at Casselman, Maryland. His children are all born here. And in 1770, he bought a farm on Rockdale Road, which is currently the Jonas Zook Farm. And he is buried on a neighboring farm in what's called the Nagy Cemetery. This is the tombstone of immigrant Christian Orndorff and his wife Barbara Schwarzentrubler. This is in Bittinger, Maryland, on their farm. This is a photo of Jacob and Maria Shetler Otto's farm in New Germany, Maryland, and their burial place is on the hillside. This is a picture of Maria Shetler. She was born in Germany. She came in 1830. This is Jacob Otto's Bible. It was given to him by his father in 1820 in Germany. And this picture was given to Maria Shetler by her fiance Jacob Otto in Germany. And this is a picture of Jacob and Anna Bender Otto, a different Jacob This Jacob, his father was Daniel Otto, and they lived on Tice Road. Anna Bender was sister to John Bender we had looked at earlier. These are Daniel Otto's children. The left is Jacob and Christian, and in the back is Mary. She married Levi Kinsinger, son of immigrant Jacob Kinsinger. And Jacob and Anna lived in Casselman, Maryland, and Christian ended up in Missouri. This is where Joseph Slaybo lived for approximately 40 years. It's presently the Norman Yoder Farm. In around 1870, they left this farm and moved to Gardner, Maryland. This is the home of Jacob and Maria Schonenberg. There's little information about him, but in 1850, Christian Orndorffs were living in their household, and Christian was listed as a laborer. This was the home of Christian Schwarzentrubers. His wife was Catherine Kinsinger. This entire family ended up in Iowa in the 1840s and 50s. This is the home of Christian Schwarzentruber, and his wife was Barbara Bender, sister to Wilhelm, Joseph, and others. They lived on Ash Hill in Springs, PA. They immigrated in 1839. This then was the burial place of Christian. His son Jacob had bought this farm in 1869, and to the right you see the tombstone of Christian, Jacob, and Elizabeth. This is where Daniel Schwarzentrubers lived. Daniel emigrated in 1819 with his brother Christian, who lived in New Germany. They owned this farm from 1823 to 1846. However, the deed states Daniel Schwarzentruber and Barbara, his wife, of the county of Holmes in the state of Ohio when they sold the farm in 1846. Daniel's wife was Barbara Hostetler, and she was one of 19 children of Henry Hostetler. And this is a picture of his brother Christian farm in New Germany. Christian was a minister. I don't know if he was ordained here or after he was living in Iowa. This is a photo of Jacob Schwarzentruber's farm in New Germany. We refer to him as Bishop Jacob Schwarzentruber of Iowa. They bought this farm in 1840 and sold 1851. It's his tombstone in Iowa. It's a communion cup that both Jacob and his son Hickory Joe used. And this is a farm that Hickory Joe Schwarzentruber bought in 1847, and he sold it in 1856 to his wife Barbara's brother Jacob Branneman. This is Hickory Joe's tombstone in Iowa. And Hickory Joe had a brother Fred, and he got his wife from Shanksville, PA. Her father was known as Bishop Christian Yoder, Jr. While Fred and Sarah lived in the New Germany area, they had a small child born, and I think it is probably buried in the same cemetery where Daniel Branneman is buried. This was a home for a short time for Valentine Catherine Gingrich Tice. It came to America in 1833 with Jacob Kinsingers. They both died in Indiana. I believe this to be the tombstone of Christian Yutze. He was the father of 5 who immigrated to America and Canada. And this was the home of his son Peter Yutze. It's currently the Vida Bender Farm on River Road near Springs, PA. As Daniel Yutze came to America in 1827, lived in Pocahontas, PA, where he is buried. Daniel's stone on the left. In the middle was his first wife, Anna. To the right, his second wife, Magdalena. It's a photo of Barbara Gingrich's tombstone. She married Jacob Falk. And this cemetery is located in St. Paul, PA, in the Union Cemetery. David Keim, Bishop at Springs, PA, had the funeral service. This is Daniel and Anna Otto. This is located on Tice Road. They came to America probably in 1830, and they died on their farm. And to the right you see the stone for Jacob Otto, their son, also an immigrant, and his wife Anna, who immigrated in 1851. This is Cherry Glade Mennonite Cemetery. There are two immigrants buried here. One was Louis Beitzel, the other was Daniel Brenneman. This church was built in 1881 for the Amish. This is Cemetery at Maple Glen. The immigrants buried here are John Bender, Barbara Bender Schramm, Mary Brenneman Beachy, Christian Gingrich, and Conrad Wisselman. This is a cemetery on the Peter Beachy II farm at Springs, PA. The known immigrants buried here are Mary Bauman, Elizabeth Bauman Bender, Daniel and Catherine Bender, Barbara Bender Schwartzentruber and her daughter Barbara, Catherine Brenneman Miller, Christian Yutzi, and Peter Yutzi. This is a cemetery at Niverton, PA, Amish church, and the immigrants buried here are Wilhelm Bender and Jacob Kinsinger. The stone in the center is that of Susanna Miller. She first married immigrant Peter Petersheim and later married John Kemp. That's it.